do you feel about, as a producer, it seems like hip-hop's starting to embrace dance music more, and
I mean, that's cool, because I tried to do it. If you remember, in 2002, with Rod Digger, with the Party and Bullshit record, and me and Joe Button had on the record Fire with Busta.
Where them hoes in this house? Where them hoes in this house? Where my niggas at? Guess who's coming? I be the god of the flows, I be the god of the spitting, I be the god of the blows. Come black and blue up your shit and probably swell up your nose. A lot of bitches love when I spit, so let me dazzle you hoes. Let me frazzle your head, doing skedaddle with Joe and get a stack of that money and get a sack of the dro. Better back it up, money, before they crack to the dome. I got a pack of them niggas to leave a crack in your skull.
Those were straight up boom, 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 doo, 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 but. And even though they both kind of did marginally well, like Rod Digger's record hit 106 in Park and it was #2 on the countdown, and they both got decent radio play, and Joe's record got a lot of club play, it's just the time I was way too early. But for me being from Jersey, that's what I grew up. I grew up on the house just as much as I grew up on hip hop. So I was probably trying to reintroduce hip house too early. But I mean, it's cool, it's great, because again, that just opens the door for us to be able to play both at a party without it being a weird thing. Because there was a certain point where if you played one at a party, you weren't playing the other. Like, if it was either a hip hop party, or a house party, or a reggae party, or a West Coast party, or a backpacker party, I kind of feel like where music is at right now, you can play a little bit of everything. I've met with certain songwriters or certain producers who are more rooted in electronic music or just have a background in that, and they would come up to me and be like, yo, I swear when I was listening to such and such record that you did, I heard a little bit of such and such in there, which was a record I used to dance to when I was like 16 in '94, and I'm like, yeah. You know, so it's kind of interesting, because I've always thrown that little bit of influence in there, but it's only now that certain people are starting to take notice. But like I said, it's all cool. I'm all for whatever pushes us forward and allows us to grow.
In the city, yeah, in the city, where I grew up, yeah, where I grew up. Red rhymes that blew up at bedtime, they shoot up. Rival blocks, throwing that one and deuce up. Met set, we hooped up, that's where I first got stoned. Looking for Medusa and music was my calling, where I tried to get rich, bitch. Darnell Rollins, I'm a heights, how I started.
Now, we just interviewed not too long ago XV. Can you see his record at all, like having some? Because I mean, he's definitely somebody who, you know, whose sound has crossed over into.
Well, the thing about XV and electronic music, in all honesty, when he first was brought to my attention, the records that they played me from him, the records I liked the most were his record, but he was either rapping on electronic music or just kind of had that feel. Because he's not really a dude you can put in a lane or a bracket. And sometimes I felt like the records that were straight up your standard hip hop records weren't fitting him as well. But I kind of feel like that wasn't him, that he was doing it maybe because the label or whoever was telling him to do that at the time, or that's just what he felt he needed to do. As time went on, I could hear the progression when he just started doing him, and the tempos were varied and the patterns were varied. I felt that's where I really was like, yo, this kid has the potential to be one of the next ones, because he, musically, he knows he can go other places without compromising who he is artistically.
How deep are you guys into that album?
I mean, I've done about 5 records with him. He went out to LA for a while and started recording out there. We've got to get back up. I got caught up with my TV show, Master of the Mix show. I'm in the studio working on a couple of projects I can't really talk about yet. I had to finish up the Ross records, the Drake records, so we haven't gone back and gotten to revisit. I'm hoping to, like, within the next couple of weeks, only because I'm only one person, and I'm not one of those guys that employs ghost producers. So I'm not the guy that's like, all right, yeah, you do those records and I'll come back and change the hi-hat and put my name on it. I can't do that. If all I had to do was change a hi-hat, I'm not putting my name on it. Y'all could just rock.
Now, another artist that I definitely think about when I think about you, as far as UCAS, is Jay Electronica. Mm-hmm. Have you guys got a chance to get back in the studio? Are you guys working on?
Jay moved out to London. Jay, he's got a situation in London. He's doing good out there. He's happy out there. I personally, I can't be out. My life is here in the U.S. You know, so we've gotten back in the studio. We've sat down, we've chopped it up, we've exchanged some ideas and whatnot. But in terms of, being heavily at work, we're not really, you know what I mean? He's out there, he's out in London. And it's one of those things where he calls me, we still speak. He'll call me and be like, yo, come to London. And I'm like, dude, we made Exhibit 8 in the attic in Detroit. I don't need to be in London. At some exotic place or in South Africa, at some, studio in the jungle with panthers outside my door. We made Exhibit 8 in an attic in Detroit. We made Exhibit C as, we were just messing around when we made that record. We were making it as a promo for Angela Yee for the Morning After. That's why at the end I'm like, oh, Morning After, world premiere, because we were making it to take to her show the next day. But it was so good, we were like, yo, we can't do that. But yeah, it's like, situations, I look at those situations or those kind of relationships as friends first, more so than anything else. If he makes his album, I've heard the album. I've heard Act 2 or Act 3, whatever he's calling the album. I've heard it. It's good. He was very hands-on with it. He shaped it to what he wanted it to be. And God willing and time permitting, if we can get back in before he hands it in, cool. If not, that's my man. I gotta keep it moving within what I know.
As far as keeping it moving, what does that entail for you as far as like projects that are upcoming or?
Keeping it moving means being here since Monday, back to New York to do 2 more events, then back to the Rebel Base at Stadium Red to work on 2 remixes for somebody I shouldn't speak about yet because they're not 100%, but it's looking good, and it's one of the, probably the biggest living pop icon in the world. We're doing 2 records together. These 2 records I gotta finish this under Drake. Ross is taking a break from his shows to go back on this album. They've been hitting me. And what it is, it's just that balance of doing these kind of things and getting back to what you love, which is just playing music, and then have a turn around and make music. It's a constant struggle. I come from both. I play music just as much as I make music. So I think that's really just the hard part for me, is just balancing the both. But I'm working on it.